Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
Good morning, everybody. Well, I'm having a little bit of issue. My platform did some weird stuff. I think I didn't wait for my monitor to come up before I did. So I'll have to fix that, but we can do that in a second. Let's come over to the charts really quickly. ZN is actually up today. So interestingly enough, yesterday I was kind of like, well, if I was going to take a scalp, I would take it long, and you know, it doesn't seem like it's going anywhere. But that long ended up being like a pretty decent winner for some reason. Of course, I wouldn't have taken it, you know, I would have taken the quick profit, but it was not the mean reversion that I thought it was. It was a large meta order coming in long, and we've kind of extended that overnight. So that mostly brings us to where we were last Friday, though. So here's the S&P 500, and they're you know, a pretty good winner yesterday. Not much overnight. Oil getting hammered hard. So Israel has said that they are going to retaliate against Iran, but that they will be striking military facilities, not oil production. So that is why oil is coming back down substantially, because there was concerns that they were going to hit the Iranian oil supply. Gold here, about not too much movement there, about where it was. Kappa's still struggling, and still concerns about stimulus from China. I'm a little bit concerned here. Like, I don't know, if copper is coming down, that's maybe actually a good thing, because I am concerned about too much stimulus from China coming in and creating more inflation and just kind of upsetting the whole balance of things. And then we got the Japanese yen. Oh, a little bit of a pop there, but it still just looks like all down. Like this has just been a pretty brutal downtrend in the Japanese yen, and we are sitting at 102.8 on the dollar index. Bitcoin, really strong run yesterday. Kind of feel like it came out of nowhere. We'll see if they're able to sustain it and or get above that into like the 68, 69,000 area. So, coming back over here, I've got a few windows I gotta move over here. For some reason, the windows all opened up on the wrong screen. Maybe my, I don't know what I did. Maybe I opened things up before all of the monitors were really going. Anyways, all these ones over. And the error window. There. That looks good. China big time deflation right now. I mean, yeah, like the problem with China is I don't see how they stimulate their economy without there being negative consequences in other areas, you know? And I'm concerned that those negative consequences could be felt by everywhere else. Like, seriously, can you think of anything worse that could happen to the US economy right now than another bout of inflation? That would be really brutal. Like, the labor market is already really tight. What do you think about Bookmap? I think it's a decent enough tool. I prefer Jigsaw, but the Bookmap depth of market, or the time and sells DOM, whatever you want to call it, is pretty good. I personally think that the Vista chart, which Jigsaw has a Vista chart too, but I personally think that tool is overhyped. I don't think that it really does a whole lot for you. really it's what's going on like the inside 2 or 3 bids and offers that matter the most. And the book map just doesn't show that very well, you know, because those are always going to be like the darkest and the least amount of detail between the colors. So it doesn't really help you. I want to know, okay, every time it ticked up, how many contracts did it take? Before it was taking 1,000 contracts. Now it's taking 2,000 contracts. There's a change. Why might that change be happening? Like, those are the sorts of things that I look for. And but you can do that with the bookmap DOM. So really, bookmap's an okay tool, but I feel like the reason that so many people are attracted to bookmap is kind of not very useful to you. All right. Well, let's see here. We didn't really have any news or anything, did we? We'll come back here. There we go. Okay, so we do have Goldman third quarter results. So that's what I'm going to be most interested in at the moment. Okay, so we did get New York Fed manufacturing negative 11.9 versus an expected 3.6. So that is a huge miss. I see. So that probably is the Treasury's jumping up on that. We'll see how far they get. It kind of seems like that the flows are long today and that they were long overnight. So you might just kind of see this turn into a gentle uptrend. Okay, auction market theory. So if you want to know more about my opinion on auction market theory, I have a video called Improving Volume Profile. It's a relatively recent video. It's like 2 or 3 videos back. If you go to the main channel page, and I go into really heavy detail about that. Not the deepest detail. There is a study that you can read that I reference, and then you really get into detail about it. But to summarize really briefly, auction market theory was a decent theory based on observations from people that knew what they were doing. But ultimately, the theory that they came up with is ultimately wrong. So there's something there important to learn and understand about markets, but their approach to it is wrong. Specifically, the idea that like where all of the volume trades, that's like the value area, and it means something important about what the market thinks is a fair price. That's not what's happening there at all. It actually kind of happens on accident. The energy sector has been hit in Europe. Here too, energy sector in the pre-market is an ouchie. Oil down for, yeah. Well, so again, overnight there was some comments from the Israeli war cabinet stating that they are not planning on attacking Iranian oil sites, but instead they are planning on attacking Iranian military facilities. And the market was very concerned that they would hit oil and that would really increase the price of oil. Now that risk premium is coming back out of the market. You know what? Let's analyze that just a little bit more than that, because man, I do. Okay, over here. So when we come to oil on a longer time frame, okay, man. Okay, here's when it was super crazy in 2022. Well, not 2020. Really, we'd have to go back 4 years now to see when it was super crazy. Okay, but let's just kind of cut all of that out. Let's come to about here. Okay, so this is the range that it's been in, between 60 and 80. And there's been some analysts kind of saying that we should be going more towards 80 based on, like economic demand and things like that. But then two things kind of happened. One was a lot of this upside was the risk premium. Okay. Like especially, I want to say, I mean, this isn't going to be precise, but I think that most of this in particular was risk premium, right? Now it kind of seems like some of it was also like, oh, demand from China. Like this day in particular, I remember they saying, oh yeah, the stimulus from China now, maybe China actually comes back, yada, 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 right? Well, now today you're kind of getting the double whammy where like the market seems less confident about what kind of stimulus is going to come from China. They were supposed to be like making announcements and they never came. And the risk premium is coming out. So now it looks like we're headed back towards the bottom end of this range at 65. But, there's some big questions as to whether 65 is really a fair price. So I'm kind of thinking if we get back down there, well, actually really anything below these moving averages, but especially below 70, because that's where that's where the ATR stop is probably a reasonable buy in oil right now. I wish that I was in a place where I could take on risk, because I'm kind of looking at that and being like, I think I would like to add some oil. I wouldn't mind a deep correction in energy so I can load back up. Yeah. The interesting thing about it all to me is that I would have been buying it maybe back in September or who knows, way further back. Maybe when it was in its 60s, right? That was also a time when I was thinking, oh, oil looks kind of attractive. But then I would have been looking for it to like bust 100 again or something like that, right? Well, I don't think that was the play. Kind of seems like you wait for some risk premium to be built up into the market and everything going crazy in Israel and everything, and you take some profits and then load back up when it comes on again, It's a tough trade to pull, but I could see somebody that's really knowledgeable in the oil market playing that over and over again and being really successful with it. U.S. threatens Israel resolve the humanitarian crisis in Gaza, or we will impose an arms embargo? Really? So I'm a little surprised to be hearing that simply because of the election coming along. But maybe the Democrats decided that the people mad at the party for supporting Israel will help, pleasing those people will help them more than the people that are displeased by, Israel. I don't know if that's Democrats getting desperate because their internal polling is apparently absolutely dismal. It's really kind of weird to watch, because if you come in and you look at the state of the race today overall, just like you've been transported from the past and you just came in today and you looked at all of the numbers, you would say, oh, looks like it's anybody's race. Seems really close, right? But when you look at the context, of things, it looks really, really bad for Democrats. Harris has, she was really far ahead at one point. She was hiding. That kind of came down. They thought that they won the debate, but then since the debate, her numbers just keep going down. So now she's been going out there and getting in front of voters and going on TV and everything. And the more that she's on TV, the more that the electorate dislikes her. And so now they are kind of pulling these sorts of tactics that I think are common among the Democrats part of my model of how the Democrat machine works is they're really about being popular, right? Like the more people come out and vote, the better it tends to be for Democrats, because Democrats tend to get those people that aren't really paying attention, that don't vote very often and have to be drug out. Those people, by and large, go to the Democrat Party. That could be changing now that right now, party identification is higher among Republicans than Democrats. So that, and the Republicans are kind of becoming the populist party. So there may be a point where that flips. But yeah, so the race doesn't look good, and the big reason, the big thing that that's not just like, oh, errors in polls and noise and yada yada yada, is that the Harris campaign is like in complete panic mode. This is one that I can't confirm, but there was somebody posting a rumor that there was a meeting with the Kamala Harris campaign, and that there's really big disagreement in the campaign between the really young people in the campaign and the older people in the campaign. And like somebody called one of the older analysts a boomer, and he like threw a chalkboard across the room. So like there's like internal strife within the Harris campaign. They're really under pressure. But how does this but how does this fit in with Israel? Well, a part of the Democrat Party is very staunchly Israel, because especially in New York, you gotta understand, if all of a sudden all Jews decided that they were going to vote Republican, then New York would flip Republican and the Democrat Party would be finished. Okay, there is a lot of Jewish people in New York. Okay, so they're a really big part of the Democrat Party. But then on the other side, the Democrat Party has also, really fortified the blue wall by importing a lot of Muslim populations into those Great Lakes areas. So there are a lot of, let's say, Muslim voters now in the Democrat Party too, is a kind of a key part of their coalition. It's kind of interesting because really it's been like, in the past, it's been like, Black Americans and working class Americans, union voters, right? And they're kind of giving those up. They've kind of been giving those up. Well, anyways, so there's kind of this question like, which side do you placate? And maybe Joe Biden has decided that the most useful thing is to placate the Muslim vote. But I'm not so sure. Maybe Joe Biden is doing this to hurt Kamala Harris again. Because it's something like 70% of Americans support the Israeli side in this conflict. So giving Israel an ultimatum, like a straight up ultimatum, resolve the humanitarian crisis in Gaza or we'll impose an arms embargo, that seems like a really huge development to me. Importing the third world and mitigating their ideologies is going to be a big challenge for Democrats in the long run. Yeah, maybe. But you know what? Like, honestly, the biggest problem in the Democrat Party is that they abandoned their base. Like, they literally abandoned their base. In the 70s, 80s, and to some extent in the 90s, the Democrat Party was really about, like, working people and unions and all of this and that. And then Bill Clinton signed NAFTA, which the base did not like, but everybody kind of agreed that it was good for trade and it helped the economy at the time and all of these things. So everybody just kind of went, okay. And then as time has gone on, the Democrat Party has allied themselves more and more with Silicon Valley and helping people that are on the coasts and in big tech. And guess what? Those aren't working class people. Those are upper middle class people. And so the Democrat Party continually does things that harm the American middle class and the working class in particular. And what has happened, essentially, well, basically, they left themselves wide open. All that had to happen was some politician come along and say, oh, well, hey, I'm going to be for the working class. And it just, destroys the whole balance of things. Having a Republican come in and becoming working class has just completely upset the electoral balance. It's not conservative versus liberal in the way that it used to be. It is now globalists versus anti-globalists. I don't even want to call them localists or whatever. They're just anti-globalism. And so now they're going into these areas. So, like, one of the things that happened last week was they sent Tim Walz out to go hunting. Hey, look at you working class people. I'm just like you. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. You know why? You can't just go out and go hunting and say, look, I'm a testosterone infused male. I'm just like you guys, and relate to them and things like that. It doesn't work. You need action. You need action. And the policy of the Democrat Party for the last 20 years has been anti-working class. The policy platform of Kamala Harris and of Joe Biden have been particularly anti-working class, and they're not falling for it anymore. They need action. If Bernie Sanders, let me tell you what, man, this is the wildest thing to me. I think in U.S. politics in the last 20 years, I think the biggest mistake that Democrats made was pushing against Bernie Sanders. Specifically, like doing things in the Democrat primaries against Hillary Clinton to hurt Bernie Sanders. If they had probably he wouldn't have won. Probably he wouldn't have won anyways. But if they had heard him out, and in order for Hillary Clinton to get the nomination, Bernie Sanders had to throw his support behind her, and he became the vice president or something like that, right? This would be completely different because Bernie Sanders was pro-working class, right? And that would have blunted Donald Trump's advantage. The thing that the game changer that he's introduced into American politics that has turned everything upside down. And if the Democrat Party owned that piece, Hillary Clinton probably would have gone through to 2 terms, and we'd be looking at a new Democrat president. Maybe a President Bernie Sanders, although I don't know if at this point he would go because he's too old. But it's just so crazy to think all that through. It's like, and all they had to do is just not try and put their thumb on the scale. Democrats directly appealing to men has to be one of the funniest fluster cucks I've seen in 2 decades. And then the whole thing was that Walz wasn't very good at it. If it was me, I would totally be, I'm struggling with working class people. I would totally be like, okay, let's go hunting. That may actually be an okay strategy. It's the best thing you can do. Again, you need action. You need action. But I don't go hunting. So I wouldn't be going. I would go and find somebody that's super expert hunter, and go out and show them how it's done, and like really wreck it. Like let's stay out overnight or over several days and all of these sorts of things. Really get like the full experience, and then when I'm talking to the media, really talk about how we're changing the party's approach to the working class, which I don't think Walz did. Well, the treasuries have kind of been sitting here in 11 during that whole kind of pontification about politics. It's not organic for them. They trash men, they trash masculinity, they trash meat, they trash guns, and suddenly, big men, let's go hunting with sexually ambiguous high school. Well, I think one of the things that blunts it as well is that at the same time, there's these allegations on Twitter that Walz basically abused a kid. There's no evidence to support that yet. Supposedly, that's a disinformation op, maybe. Supposedly, the victim is going to go public soon. Supposedly. But like, again, it's one of those things that's like, whether it's true or not doesn't necessarily matter. It still has the same impact on the discussion, right? Like, it's hard for people to see Tim Walz as this masculine, I'm for the boys kind of a guy, when, he's kind of like this round, bald, white-haired guy that people are accusing of misconduct and stuff. It's just like it paints this whole picture that the ABC, well, but the ABC, what's wrong with the ABC whistleblower? I mean, the ABC whistleblower was legit. Everybody forgot about it, but it was legit. They totally rigged that debate. They planned to fact check Donald Trump, and they didn't make any plans for Kamala Harris. It was... Anyways. Okay, there we go. There's a new high. No, it was real. The guy put out an affidavit and everything. Like, maybe you missed it. Like, the guy came out, there's somebody who's going to publish an affidavit, and then that weekend, he put it out. Of course, he hid the guy's name, so the guy didn't become public, but like, all of the documentation is there. It was real. And they released like a 6-page legal affidavit, where the guy basically detailed the ways in which the ABC basically rigged the debate. And no, seriously, it was. Well, let's go find it. No. This is going to be one of those things that is going to be difficult to search for, because Google is going to screw up the search results, right? Like, the first result should be the guy on X. No, the link that you're sending me is about the Tim Walz thing. Oh, I totally think that the Tim Waltz thing is probably completely false. It probably is completely false. For sure. It's just that again, like, sometimes it doesn't matter if it's true or not. It still has a certain, it kind of flavors thing. Like think of those sorts of things, those unproven allegations and rumors that you read on Twitter and everything. Think of it as kind of like smoke when you're smoking meat. Like it just kind of, gets itself into the flavor of the meat and kind of affects things, even though it really shouldn't. But they're saying I think it's just somebody on Twitter making stuff up for the Waltz thing. Man, how can I find this? Maybe if I search for Brave. Nah, it looks like that Brave is painted too. I don't understand what you're getting at, other than that it's probably false. You're terrible at this. All I read is, Tim Walz, that this thing doesn't even have a scintilla of truth behind it. I see many obvious red flags. Oh, hold on. I didn't see them mentioning that. This same account claims that he had a whistleblower. Okay, well, there is the thing about audio tapes. I forgot about that. No, let me go back. Let me find the thing. Let me show you what I think about that. Oh, I'm gonna have to go back far. Doesn't help that they're not saying what the name of the account is. Well, there was, but it was. So here's the thing. Okay. So this is what I know happened. Okay, the Black Insurrectionist. Sure, let's look at them. See, if I search for that on Google, it won't show up. Google's so cucked, guys. It's hilarious. There it is. Nope, that's not it either. There you are. Well, he is posting statements. It says a statement, blah, 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 blah. That was a while ago. Oh no, this account is just really active. Oh man. There it is. No. Man, this was a long, it was like beginning of September, wasn't it? Here we are. Okay. So like, maybe he is totally, maybe he's totally, maybe it's totally fake. But like, here's the thing that I thought was funny about this. Okay. Was, so the guy comes out, he says, I have a whistleblower from ABC. And then that weekend he posts this thing that's like an affidavit. So he's got this thing. It's all legal documentation. It's got parts like redacted where it comes down to the guy's name, there's a verification of affidavit, everything. Like it all looks totally legit. And in the what do you say, accusations, they basically say that like they negotiated with the Kamala Harris campaign that there were certain questions that they weren't allowed to ask, and that they were Kamala's campaign was reassured that they would fact check Donald Trump and not fact check her. And then, you know, ABC came out and was like, oh, this is completely false. This is totally false, right? And then the people that did the debate basically said, well, like, yeah, we planned to, we prepared, we knew that Donald Trump was probably going to talk about this, and we had prepared to fact check for him, and we hadn't done anything similar for Kamala Harris. So like, ABC kind of totally confirmed what was the biggest thing for me, that they planned to fact check Donald Trump and didn't plan for Kamala Harris. So like, I feel like that ABC confirmed the worst of the allegations. I guess the one thing that would be still kind of in there is like that there was negotiations between Kamala Harris and that they were talking about it and things like that. And he did say that he had audio tapes, and we never got those audio tapes, did we? So, and now you got this same guy saying that he's got a whistleblower from Tim Walz. Well, so maybe they're both false. But again, that doesn't change the point that I was trying to make, which is that it's like, it's out there. It seems to be affecting people's opinion of him. It was kind of out there before that anyways. Not that it wasn't like, I had not seen anybody saying, oh, there's rumors and yada, yada, yada. But I have seen a lot of people saying, like, you can just see it. You can kind of tell by looking at him that he's one of those guys, sort of a thing, right? So a lot of people saying that. These reports never made it to the House. Okay. But that's what I'm saying. Like, maybe this guy got lucky. Maybe this guy got lucky because I think that the meat of the substance behind the quote unquote ABC whistleblower report was true and basically admitted by ABC themselves. They're like, this is false, but we did totally plan to fact check Donald Trump and not Kamala Harris. Like, And he did release an affidavit. I mean, I don't know. That's probably the best that you could ever get. But you're right. You would probably send it to, and that's one of those things is it was like, when was this? September 15th? So that was a month ago. Yeah, it's been almost exactly a month. Interestingly enough. So the things that you would have expected to see happen to move that story along have not happened, have they? But I don't know. It's interesting also is that when something like that happens, like you're not going to know unless you remember the story and then look it up like way later, because that's not going to hit headlines, right? Do I follow Megyn Kelly on X, by the way? I don't. Oh, I don't. There you go. I should follow her. Oh, this dude hasn't said a thing about the market trading since I've been here. Well, yeah. I don't know if there's a lot to say at the moment, dude. I mean, I said all that needed to be said at the beginning. You'd still have a well, yeah. I mean, the thing is that so this is kind of a weird thing, is that like if you were a lawyer, okay, and you had a client that wanted to come forward with some sort of an allegation, how would you do it? Right? Well, you write up this affidavit and you get it notarized and everything. And then you would release that to the public. But of course, you would redact information from it so that people don't know who the victim is. So like up until that point, everything looks legit and above board. But then you could fake all of that stuff, right? And the way that people would know that it's fake is they'd have to have the unredacted version of the paper, right? So the way that you would verify it is you would send it to other people, the unredacted version that are trustworthy, like people in Congress, for instance. So if he never sent it to Congress, then that's kind of a key thing that you wouldn't see reported, right? So I guess it probably was disinformation. Even though the allegations were true. Again, I'm still holding to, I think that the allegations were true. ABC plotted to fact check Donald Trump and influence the debate, and not Kamala Harris. They totally did. But I did not realize that they were the same person. Yeah, I guess I scanned the thing and I read the beginning of it and the end of it, not the middle of it. I'm sorry. Anyways. So I'm kind of looking at this like, well, I think we might see a slow trend up. But like we had a move up. We kind of came to this spot and we had another move up. We came back to this spot. So that's a little bit concerning. That kind of makes me feel that we're not got a lot of opportunity here now. Wait, we don't have anything else today though, do we? Three and 6 month bill auction. Valley's not until after we're gone. Yeah, I don't know if we really got a whole lot to work with. In oil, it's probably a different story, right? Oil probably is the thing to be trading today. I don't know if it's going to go lower or anything, but I bet you could probably get some good scalps in there. What about the rest of them? Let's keep an eye on the dollar. Now, on the same side, well, so maybe you got that from Megyn Kelly. I'm kind of starting to wonder now, why is there not more pushback on that particular account? This is like the second one. At the same time, that account is like posting stuff. So that's also interesting. This is just a big old mess. Yeah, I just has not popped up on where I'm looking though. I'm sure, of course, there are people somewhere. I mean, like Megan Kelly is pointing it out, right? But like, I would think that it would be a bigger, more prominent thing than it has been. Like, for instance, why are there not people on? Why am I not seeing advice animals jumping all over this on Reddit, for instance? That these are all basically from a proven fake account of sorts. When was that? That was yesterday. Yesterday, he said I was given a statement to release this morning. Well, so like, here's the other thing. Maybe they see it as so weak they don't bother to defend against it. Oh, well, yeah. Or not even so much that it would lend it credibility, but even if people don't believe it, it still kind of affects people's perceptions. Yeah. So let me try to go deeper into this, okay? The human mind is like a chat GPT. Most people don't use logic. Most people rely on intuition, by and large. Women more so than men. But people, by and large, to a startling degree, rely on intuition to make their decisions. If you ever get into a situation where, you know, like there are certain medications you can take and things like that that will kind of suppress the limbic system and the emotional systems and will strengthen the more logical processing parts of your brain, and then you'll see it. The degree to which both other people and yourself, even when you're like in hyper analyst logic mode, the degree to which I myself utilize intuition is startling. And most people don't really understand how humans think. They think that they're using logic and motivations, but it's really intuition, right? So how does intuition work? Well, you absorb information, you kind of put those pieces of information into your brain, and then your brain is constantly running through like scenarios to align the nerves, essentially. So it'll say, okay, here's all of this information, and then my goal is to determine who I'm going to vote for. And so then it does all of these configurations until it gets the answer. It has to have some way to say, like, basically it has to have something to optimize based on. You have to have a goal that you know the answer to. So you take all of that information and you say, okay, I'm going to shift bits around and everything until this neural network gives the correct answer. That's the way that your brain works, right? So when you see a piece of information online, like, you know, that Tim Waltz was inappropriate with minors, for instance, even if it's completely false, and even if you know that it's completely false, your brain may still kind of place that into your neural network, and where it has an impact on your thinking. So you have to be very cautious about what you consume. I consume a lot of information, right? And there's these situations where like there are some things that happen where it's like, oh, okay, everything's totally legit about it now, but then you don't really find out that it's false until later. There are cases like that. And that's going to happen to you, especially when you're dealing in rumor and stuff like that, right? It does affect you, right? So from the perspective of somebody running a campaign, I'm want to minimize the spread of that. Even if it's debunked and all of that, the less people that hear about it, the better, because I don't want it to affect their intuition. Right? That's why they come down to this whole big thing about like for instance the Hunter laptop story, which is one that was totally rumor. It came out I'd say it was verified at the time, and then all of these people came out and said, no, it's false, it's Russian disinformation, yada. They didn't debunk it, but they said it was disinformation, and then several years later comes out that actually, yes, it really was totally 100% legit. And why would they push that? Like, you couldn't even share the link on Twitter. I remember trying to share the story with my wife on Facebook Messenger, and it wouldn't let me. It wouldn't let me send the link in Messenger. Right? So why would they go through all that? Because it does have an impact on people. And the whole thing is that they don't trust people to be able to adjust. Maybe most people can't. But I don't think that limiting what people can read is the way to fix it. Yeah, 20 trips to China is totally normal. Yeah, so it's kind of weird that something that I find really bizarre about the Kamala Harris campaign is that there are key points, right? There's a question. People have a question about a certain thing. You know that it's going to get asked. And then the question gets asked and you're supposed to say the thing that, okay, now we know that that's not something that we have to worry about. Everybody's models kind of adjust. They throw that out and yada, 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 right? But at key points in the Kamala Harris campaign, where those questions come up that you know that they're going to get asked, their answer is like, not it, like Walz's explanation for the whole China thing was really kind of unsatisfactory, like, really, you knew that you were going to get asked that, and that was your response. You didn't prepare yourselves for that. It's so weird. But I think in this case with Waltz, it's because there's not really a legitimate defense for it, right? Like, first of all, he did fib about being there in China during the protests and whatnot. He exaggerated it, right? And he is closer to China than you would want your vice president to be. I'm not necessarily saying that like he should be thrown in jail for being a foreign agent sort of a thing, but it kind of seems to me like he has a closer relationship with China than I'm comfortable with. And there's no way around that. Anyways, we let ourselves get like way off kilter, right? The reason we were talking about that was trying to explain why Tim Walz going hunting doesn't really help them. So, well, just saying, like, when that kind of smoke is out there, even if it's not true, it still kind of affects people's perception. And like, you going hunting doesn't really placate people unless he was like a really good hunter and really, I don't know, like it's just, I don't know what you would do. I don't know how you would help that campaign in that point, but it was a pretty much a dead giveaway that like as soon as I heard that he was going to be doing that, I was like, this is going to be a disaster, right? I'm a little bit concerned about this liquidity hole at 11. But it does look to me like we will probably at some point get another leg. I guess what I should be doing is maybe trying to play this range. Okay. If I really think that it's going to go up in the long run and I know that we're kind of in a liquidity hole range, then I should be trying to scout that range and building a position. Gap up and go with 2 legs so far. Yeah, well, so like my reading of it is that they were set to be buying this session anyways, and then that New York number, sorry, what was it? New York Fed manufacturing number came in and really pushed us up, right? So I would expect that after kind of having a little bit of a liquidity hole and everything else like that, that it will kind of continue up on a slow and steady upturn. Like, I think that this before the open was like 1 leg. This leg, I'm not going to count because this was the news. So then, because this would be 2, right? But I think that there will be a 2 and a 3. So actually 4. And Steffa, good morning. So, oh, by the way, I totally, I got a little bit too deep into the politics now today because we got a good video coming out today. Where's the video? My video on index funds is coming out. Let me find that. 2 minutes. So. There we go. All right. So as soon as that pops up, I'll give you guys the link and then I'll give it to you before we go as well. Oh, I missed this other comment from Octavius. Big buyers were at 9. They are adding at VWAP. Oh, yeah, okay. But for now, it looks like we're very much in the quiet area, right? You know what? I got super ADHD today, man. We should have stopped ourselves a little bit earlier than we did. Because I need to read about Goldman Sachs and their third quarter results. Okay, let's come over. Walgreens will close 1,200 stores over 3 years as the drugstore chain seeks to turn around its struggling U.S. business. We'll get the next leg when Newsy buys down. Okay, so that the Walgreens story continues to be interesting to me. There's a big tick up and a big tick down there in the treasury. Because there's this whole thing that was like, we're losing money because of shrink or whatever you want to call it. And then people came out and said, no, there's no evidence of that. And then people were like, oh, they're like having to lock everything up in the stores and things like that. Like, no, there's no evidence of that. But then people pointed out that like the FBI isn't even, like, those municipalities don't have to report the statistics. So we don't actually have the statistics, and it's not correct. So it kind of seems like this one of those ones, at least my conclusion so far on that one has been that there is a, let's say, a wave of crime in some areas that we might not be able to see because of the reporting changes, but and there might even be an increase in shrink in some places, but that's not why Walgreens is struggling so much. Is kind of the conclusion that I came to. Oh, wait. Is that really? Oh. Wait, what is that? That can't be my alert, is it? Where's my alerts? Alerts. GNS greater than 2.9. No, that's not. Oh, that was in 2017. That's funny. So then what's that coming from? Oh, that's just the new, must be a new thing on TradingView that allows me to buy or sell at that price. Must be. Okay, but my Goldman is looking good, and I feel really good about having held it, because when we were right here and we had this pullback and everything, I was kind of like, maybe I should have done that. But it's looking good. It's looking good. So let's read. Goldman Sachs beat estimates for third quarter profit and revenue on strong results from its stock trading and investment banking operations. Equity trading posted an 18% revenue increase to $3.5 billion, more than $500 million higher than the 2.96 estimate from StreetAccount. And investment banking revenue jumped 20%. Oh, that's really good because their investment banking is not as strong. Over the past 2 years, the Federal Reserve's tightening campaign has made for a less than ideal environment for investment banks like Goldman. Now that the Fed is easing its benchmark rate, Goldman is positioned to benefit as corporations that have waited on the sidelines to acquire competitors or raise funds begin to take action, and rising values bolsters its asset and wealth management business. David Solomon cited an improving operation environment and touted the firm's result on Tuesday. Equities trading was the outlier this quarter, posting an 18% revenue increase, more than $500 million higher. Fixed income trading revenue slipped 12% from a year earlier. So whenever I read that, I always think about our own trading, and I think about, okay, like, has trading, like, maybe not our results, but like, has trading in the treasuries been good or not? And it kind of seems like it's been a little bit lackluster as of late compared to, say, last year. That's true. And so you're seeing that at the banks. Okay. Investment banking revenue jumped 20%. They already told us that. That's all that they get. I want to hear about the losses from their credit card, whatever. Their ill-fated credit card. You know what? Like, I really think that Goldman Sachs getting into consumer banking was a good idea. And it was just that getting into it with an Apple credit card was not. Like, the timing of it was bad, but the doing it with an Apple credit card in particular, because like they did it like they fell for the same shtick that everybody does with Apple. Oh, Apple is the premium option. If people want to spend money and get a nice technology, they get Apple. No, that's not what happens. People that don't know what they're doing buy Apple is what happens. So all of the techie people, by and large, still go with Windows. And Android phones too. I mean, there's some people that like the Mac stuff. It's just like I think maybe like 20% or something like that. But this idea that it's like the high end is like the Apple and like you must be poor if you're not getting, it's total nonsense. It's marketing created by Apple. That's not the reality. And the reality is that people from all income levels buy Apple, and that the people that tend to buy Apple tend to be more the impulsive type, the ones that like they have to have it, and they don't really think about if they really should, right? And so it doesn't surprise me one bit that the people that are willing to get an Apple credit card end up being like some of the worst people to lend to. You know? AutoZone went belly up too. Yeah, my AutoZone was having problems, right? I don't remember. I hadn't seen a stock chart. I didn't know that they had a stock. Is recall in Windows going to be mandatory? Oh, I forget what the deal is with that. I'd have to search for that. There's drama about that because it's like out now, right? And I'm kind of like, I don't see recall really being all that useful to me because this is not a problem that I have. Like, I can't remember how to find something or what, it's just silly. Oh, okay. AutoZone is a stock. That doesn't look too bad to me. Even though they'd had a really bad result a week or two ago. Yep, every 5 seconds they're going to take a screenshot. Let's see here. Recently, a video by Chris Titus Tech, which was also posted on the Linus Tech Tips sub, claims that Windows recall is required on 24H2. That's the second half of 2024 update. And that the recall service remains enabled even when recall is disabled because File Explorer loses tabs and falls back the older UI if you were to disable it. However, this only happens when recall is disabled before OOBE, i.e. when using a modified ISO install with some debloat scripts. This is, of course, an unsupported scenario with unintended behavior. Removing recall via optional features in settings apps will remove recall as per normal without affecting File Explorer. Okay, so if you don't want recall, you can turn it off, but it is included in the second half update of 2024. And I don't think that has been released yet, but if you're like on Windows Preview, you get it. I don't know though. I was on the dev channel for that, and I wouldn't recommend doing that. I would not recommend being on the Windows Insider program. There was a time where I did it because there was a feature that I wanted, but now that feature is in the main operating and there's no reason to do it. And like, you can't switch between them. Depending on which channel you get into, you can't switch. So. Oh, it took the other contract. I'm surprised. I'm really surprised by that. Well, I guess I'm not surprised by it taking the second contract, but I was kind of seeing it like, they're actually moving pretty freely across 12.5 and 13 now as well. So if I could get another contract there, I think I could do it and give myself a little bit of room. But I'm going to hold it a little bit longer. I'm not getting the signs that like I really, really have to take it off here or else. So let's just kind of wait a little bit. Oh, by the way, here's the new video link. Since the video has been out, you can go and watch that. Some reason there was a little bit of an increase in my video views over the weekend. Oh yeah. I don't know if shorts really helped. Those shorts that I posted did get watched. But and maybe I need to follow up. Today I should be getting back on that. So, leave comments so I can make shorts out of them. Conclusion: index funds are evil. I didn't really realize this until last night when I was like posting it and everything, but I was like, okay, the video is titled "Are Index Funds Evil?" and that's really mostly a thing to get people's attention. And at the very beginning of the video, I say like, well, maybe evil's the wrong word, but like there's good and bad. Let's talk about it because there's bad about it that I don't feel like people are talking about. So like, is the conclusion that they're evil? I don't know. Like, I don't want to use the word evil, but like, I guess the conclusion is that index funds are doing something very negative to our society and that we need to do something about it. Right? That's my opinion. I think, well, so like the first thing is like, let's say that this video like took off. I really hope, I could really use a video like really taking off right now. So let's hope, please go watch the video, watch the whole video, like leave a comment, share it with other people. It's not just like, we want this video to do well, but I think it's an important subject. Like I want more people talking about this, right? So let's say that the video took off and then BlackRock was like, oh, this is a problem that we want to address. So maybe let's like work together with Seth and other people to kind of help with other things, because they have these programs like at BlackRock where like you can vote on your shares and things like that. It's just like not very many people do it, and there's not much of an incentive to do it, and yada yada yada. Anyways, you know, if there was an opportunity like that, I'd be all over it, because it seems to me like that many people in the index fund industry are a little bit uneasy about this. Like a lot of them are kind of starting to look at this and being like, oh, this has been so successful and it really is taking over the market, and there are some problems with that and we don't know what to do about it. That is very much going on. So evil, that's why I'm not willing to call them evil, because I do think that they're, you know, by and large, those people are trying to do their best. It's just that, like, there's kind of a broader problem here, right? JL Collins. Maybe I'll go and look for that. Oh yeah, I'm interested to see where this goes, because when I was researching for this video, I found a lot of really interesting stuff. For instance, one proposal that I saw out there is maybe the longer that you hold a stock, the more your vote matters. I forget what they call this, but it is a thing, and they've kind of experimented with it in Europe. But the studies that I've seen on it kind of suggests that it doesn't help. What I've seen on it suggests that it doesn't help, but like one of the things that I see is that the Pareto distribution / principle, whatever you want to call it, is like a really strong force in the modern world. People that have success, that success breeds success. And in any kind of a system that I've seen where this becomes a problem and they address it, like in video games, for instance, you go and you take the people that are doing really, really well and you try and pull them down. That does not help. That does not, like, it doesn't make things more equal, and it actually kind of like turns people off from the game. And then, but what you can do is you can take the people that aren't doing as well and give them a little boost, right? Like that's the way that it works in Mario Kart. Mario Kart, whoever's in the back always gets the best drops and stuff, right? So when I think about it with stocks, I'm kind of like, okay, so really what you need is a handicap. Really what you need to do is say, okay, like if you're an index fund or whatever the deal, like you don't actually get a vote, and the little guys, they get more of a vote. Because that will be, yeah. You want them to have a larger impact on the company policy, essentially. And my broader theory, but then this is where it's controversial, right? Because if you do that, and then it's like, but then those people make poor decisions and companies don't do as well, right? I would like to think that there are things going on. I think that there are things companies are doing these days that work well for them and shareholders in the short term, but that if shareholders cared about other things other than just their yearly return, that their return would be higher in the long run. If more people had an approach like Warren Buffett, you know? Or that is to say, if people acted on you know, what they know and believe is best for a company to do, rather than just doing what they think the market wants, then that would basically be like everybody behaving like Warren Buffett. And if everybody ran their company like Warren Buffett, then the return of the S&P 500 would be closer to the average return of Berkshire Hathaway, and that would be a really good thing, wouldn't it? Right? Like, maybe that should be the next, you know, politically controversial video I should make. Warren Buffett is wrong, because Warren Buffett thinks that stock buybacks are great. And I'm kind of like, I'm not so sure that stock buybacks are a good thing. Especially when you can, like, literally pay buybacks with debt. Boy. So they finally come back down here at 12, huh? Not trading into 11.5. Well, you know, like 20 minutes ago, I said maybe it's in a range. I think it's going to move up. Maybe now is the time to get involved in everything. But it's still just kind of doing nothing. It's still just kind of doing nothing. Oh, look, here's another one of those. Day trading is 95% discipline. No, it's not. Canada is now among the lowest low fertility nations per the Globe and Daily Mail. Huh. Oh, hey. Okay. I'm going to put that one there for now. That's why I opened more, I guess. Okay. Thought experiment. There's no open border policies and all that sort of stuff, okay? That's no longer a problem, okay? Fertility is still bad. What do you do about it? Like, what is the cause of low fertility in the West, and what do you do about it? More generous. Okay, but I'm just trying to sidestep the border policy discussion for a second and trying to make it more about specifically about fertility, right? So some people would argue that the reason people aren't having kids is because of the general quality of life of people in the West is declining because our wages are being suppressed by immigration. So some people would say, well, if you close the borders, then people would start having more kids. I don't think that would be the case. Between foods and the immeasurable qualities of pharmaceutical residue and water supplies? Well, so there is a pretty significant, well, that is a bit, so I don't really think about that, but I don't really think that that's the problem. Like, okay, so there's definitely a thing where, like, the fertility of men in particular has really gone down. So there are a lot of people that want to have children and they can't. But I think that even if you solved those problems, like even if you had medical solutions to those, or like, let's just say easy solution, there's a government provided subsidy for in vitro fertilization so that anybody that wants to do in vitro can do it. Okay. I think that fertility would still be low. Like it seems to me the young people by and large are just choosing not to have children. Like it kind of seems to me that most people and let's even get more specific. It seems to me that most women, at least most modern women, when given the choice, choose not to have children. And maybe that's cultural. I don't know. But I kind of wonder, I'm kind of like, maybe the only reason that people were having children before was because it was just an inevitable consequence of having sex. And so they knew, okay, well, I really want to have sex and that's going to have kids. And so I'm going to have kids and I'm okay with that, right? And now that it's like optional, now that having the kid is like optional, a really large swath of people just choose to not have the kids. So I'm not even sure that it's like a change in the culture of our society. It's like if you went back to the Victorian era and you gave them birth control, you would get the same results. Like I think it is a unavoidable consequence of birth control. That's my argument. Ergo, the only way that you would really be able to do like naturally change that would be to like ban birth control, which would be crazy. Like there's no way you're doing that, right? And I don't think that would be a good thing either. So like maybe the government can provide incentives to people and things like that, but I don't know if this will actually work. Maybe we're just screwed. Maybe society's just going to decline. It's, we're going to go down until we lose the birth control technology. And you got 6 ticks, D? Well, that's not bad. On a long or? But, in order to prove my theory, it'd be kind of hard, right? Because you would have to prove all of these other theories wrong, essentially. You would have to show that, okay, like we improved the economy is working better for the average person, etc., 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 and they're still not choosing to have kids, right? We fixed the housing problem, people are still choosing to not have kids. Watch the VWAP. At 11? So we are still in this kind of liquidity hole area. I think it's been long enough that the liquidity should be healed, and I do see evidence of that as it's trading. This decline seems a little bit concerning, like that there could be a large meta order short coming in. We are definitely seeing that in the 2-year. So it's not looking too good for this little scalp, is it? In fact, looking at it, I don't know if I should have taken those 2 additional contracts, because I don't know if I'm going to get filled at 12. The argument that kids take care of you when you're getting old has gone. It's too expensive and has too big of an impact on your daily life. The kids? You're saying that the kids won't take care of their parents? I don't know, man. Okay, the next 10 to 20 years are going to be super interesting, okay? Because, like, boomers do hold the most wealth and everything. Some of that wealth is going to get passed down to millennials. A lot of that wealth is going to be used in their health care. A lot of boomers are not prepared for retirement. A shocking, a disturbing number of boomers do not have enough saved up, are not going to be okay when they're just on Medicare. What's going to happen? I think that there probably is going to be a lot of boomers that do move in with their millennial children. I think that there's going to be a lot of boomers that, even though they could afford to do it, that they're going to choose to move in with their millennial children because they don't want to pay the costs of living in a facility. POZ moved down. Yeah, I wouldn't read too much into that, though. This is just the same area, right? The issue is that we're starting to poke out the bottom. If we start to come out the bottom of this value area and we're still getting good volume trading at like 09, half 09, that's a real problem. And again, when you look in the 2-year, there is a sell coming through of some sort. Not really seeing it across other markets. Well, actually, it's something that I am seeing that I missed is that Bitcoin is popping off again. Let's look at that on the swing chart. Oh my. That is pretty big continuation in Bitcoin. I don't know what's going on over there. Do you take into consideration market makers on the other side and they have to pull back to get whole, or can they to be offside? Well, so our model looks at like what is the average position for both of them, right? Because like the whole issue is that we don't have enough information to really accurately predict what the real situation is. Like, what is the actual inventory that the market makers hold? I can't know that because I don't know if orders are adding positions or closing positions, and I don't know if those are market makers or somebody else, right? But what I can do is I can do the best and worst case scenario, right? Best case, the long market makers have their average position at 09. So like that kind of gives you a range that's like the actual position is somewhere between those two. But I don't think that this move up was so extreme that it really, what it looks like to me is we had a move up, break, had a move up on the news, break, and now after the liquidity has healed, you're getting a sell. And who knows what happens next. So I guess that the trade is kind of a loser. I could just scratch it, I guess. Because, I thought the next move was going to be up, and that didn't happen. So I think the trade was wrong. Yeah, all 4 of them are buying back to the buyer's cost basis. That's true. So the issue again is, okay, I can tell you where they're going to come back to if they come back, but I don't actually know if or when they'll come back. We have a theory that if we were able to keep track of their inventory, that we could. But let's see, they didn't actually touch 09. Well, what is driving Bitcoin? Well, nothing has to be driving it, but the way that it's kind of going, it's kind of starting to hint that something's going on over there. Although there's something's going on over there, it could be as simple as China's using too much, etc., etc. It's going to be interesting to see if they just fall back into the hole or if they do a more extended sell. Taliban run media stop showing images of living beings in some okay. That is a weird headline. I agree with you, Uzi. You know what? I used the different chair today, and it's starting to grate on me, and I think I want to switch back to the other chair now. I can't. Neither of them I can sit in all day. This one, like, it's a high back, and I think that that's the problem with this one. Bitcoiners are just doing their normal thing. I think it's just like the whales decided to put their money to work, I guess. Well, I'm seeing a little bit of something, so I'm going to do another one right there. It's the last chance to buy Bitcoin. I do kind of think that, like, I mean, the time to buy Bitcoin is when everybody's forgotten about it, right? And I feel like that this is like one of your best spots. Like, everybody got super excited about, was that the beginning of this year? I don't remember. But everybody got excited about it because of the ETFs. And then, you know, like, didn't really go. It didn't really go. So then everybody forgot about it. Well, you do tend to see a general uptrend in Bitcoin in, let's say, the fall time period. Like going into Thanksgiving and so forth, like it tends to do really well. But then like the beginning of the year is kind of like a seasonal down period for cryptocurrencies for some reason. So it could just be that. I don't know. Okay. Oh, what's going on? Kind of freaked out from r/UFOs. Okay, so the new headline that come out in the UFO space, and this was from I forget what this is, Washington Post. I don't know. There's some big newspapers picking up on this. That basically at the major Air Force base in Washington D.C. That there was some sort of a mothership plane that came out. And then a bunch of little mini ships came out of it and flew around. And they tried all these things like countermeasures and things like that. They're like anti-drone countermeasures did not work. And they could not track these things. So they basically couldn't do anything. And they just kind of flew around and then went back up into the mothership and flew off. Now, this is actually way more interesting. I think like way more of a story than some of the other UFO things going on, because what was described is something that is completely within the capacity of like a foreign government to do. Right? Like this one doesn't have all this talk about, you know, strange objects that are able to move so quickly, like there's no way, and all of these sorts of things. No, it's just like maybe the Chinese developed a drone mothership and decided to brazenly test it out on Washington, D.C. And the U.S. military kind of flopped in its response to it. Kind of seems like a big deal. Kind of seems like a big deal to me. And also, like, you're getting enough confirmation that, like, this did happen. Not just a story. Like, it did happen. So, I don't know how that one turns out. Oh, here's that. Resolve humanitarian crisis in Gaza or face arms embargo report. Sounds like I hear it every now and then. I don't know. My guess is that Bitcoin will continue to rise, and I think that 100,000 is within the realm of possibilities for sure, but I have zero interest in participating in it. I don't think that it's a good thing for society. I think that eventually this is going to blow up in people's faces and it's going to be really nasty. I think that by and large people lose money on it. Knowledge Geek, hey, welcome back. You didn't miss too much. You didn't miss too much today. You made a 1,500 on what? Were you short the S&P 500? Not that they've moved that much this morning, but still. That or you were in Bitcoin. Yay. Yeah. Oh, I see. 100K. Why did you do a 100K account though? Whatever. That wasn't you. That was somebody else. That was somebody else when we were talking about it. It was like, well, you get more leverage if you just buy multiple small accounts rather than buying the bigger accounts. Yeah, I'd have to go and, the earn to trade to them specifically, because they all have different rules and stuff like that, so. What was the most common that I was seeing was people doing Apex and starting multiple accounts at the same time. And spending like $1,000 on accounts. And I'm like, what? Oh yeah. It's really common. Okay, and what is the drawdown in target on 100K? 3.5K drawdown and 6K target. I mean, isn't that worse though? I'm not following why that's better. And in a 50K, your drawdown is 60% of your target. In the 100K, your drawdown is like 55% of your target. It's worse. Ideally, it would be 100%. Then that would be equal. That would be 3K target and 3K loss or whatever the deal is, right? So don't follow. Mm-hmm. But it's the ratio of your drawdown to your target is worse. The larger the combine that you get. That's bad. I don't know. I say that and you're like, oh, that's, yeah, exactly. And I'm like, no, but that you're saying that's a good thing. How is that a good thing? I'm being a little stingy at 11.5, but they took me. Yeah, I didn't get it. So let me put it in these terms. So, wait, are we okay? Yeah, okay. I was worried that my headphones kind of got hurt there, but they're okay. Okay, so one of these combines You have a 3K. Oh, and let's do it. First, let's pull this over here and use a brighter pen. Okay. So you've got a 3K target and a 2K drawdown, right? Okay. Now on the other one, you have a 6K target and a, what did you say? A 3.5K drawdown? Okay. So I think what you're saying is if I bought 2 of these, then I would have a 6K target and a 4K drawdown. Okay. Or sorry, what I'm trying to say is if you bought 2 of, so this is 50K. This is 100K. And this is 50K X2. So just mirrors Xeon reloading so fast versus any other day. I don't know. I waited a really long time for those fills. So they add you 1K on drawdown. No, so I still don't understand. Like, look. So if you get 100K versus 250K counts, your overall target is the same. You have to pass both of these combines. You have to make 6K. But you can draw down further without blowing the combine if you get the 250Ks. This one you can only draw down 3.5K. This one you can draw down 4K. So why don't you go for this? Does not compute. They sure came through there and filled my targets really quickly. You know what? That kind of feels to me like the whole market maker rebalancing thing that I've been talking about. Is like you have one price where it's like you're not, I need to get my money, so it needs to be one tick higher than that, so I don't hold offers at that spot. And then eventually at some point these guys have to sweep through here and close their positions. And then I get filled, and it's like I didn't have to do anything. I just had to wait long enough for them to do it. And since that, further meta order to the sell side didn't come, I got filled. And now I'm well positioned to be able to try and hold this in the hopes that they do breach the highs. Okay, so it's a drawdown to target thing, but why is that good, right? Like what you're doing is you're saying, okay, you're saying the drawdown to target for this one is 3-2, and the drawdown to target, so 2-3, and over here it's 3.5 to 6, right? This is 0.66, and this is 0.58. And you're saying this is better, and I'm saying, why is that better? Why is that better? All other things being equal, the 50K has better odds? Maybe. Okay, you're doing it the other way. You're saying it's 3-2. So they're asking you to make 150% of your drawdown, right? This one, 6 divided by 3.5 is 1.714. So this one, they're asking you to make 174% of your drawdown. It's worse. The bigger combine is worse. Like, we know the number. Why is it better? No, it's not less than 100. 6 divided by 3.5 is 1.74. It's 1.714. Did I mix that up? Here's 3-2. 6 to 3.5. 3 divided by 2 is 1.5. 6 divided by 3.5 is 1.714. This one's better. Requires a less, the target is less a percentage of your drawdown. They're asking you to make more with this one relative to your drawdown. I don't know. Despite that pullback and everything, it is still selling. So I think what I might do is this. $50K, you don't have enough drawdown? Okay, that would only be the case if you're only trading one contract, right? You think it's targeting the seller's cost basis? Maybe. I think that for me, if I'm market making this, it makes sense for me to reduce my inventory a little bit more in this area and maybe add if it comes back down, right? Yeah, just scale your position properly, right? Now, if the way that you want to scale is I need to do, like, I'm trading the 100K account, right? And I'm only using one contract, then I don't know, unless it's like a one full-size contract, and then over here I'd have to trade 5 micros or something like that. But okay, filled me. Let's see what they do. They could flip up. To be honest, they're all unreal evaluations. Yeah, asking you to make 150% of your drawdown in essentially a month is super leveraged. The chances of that blowing up in your face are really, really high. I just saw this really funny Reddit thread the other day. Oh my gosh. And this guy basically said, if you cannot pass the combine every month, then you shouldn't take the combine. But then when you read it, it basically, he thinks that he can pass the combine every month. It's just like so crazy. You really think that you can like make 50% on your account every month? Or 150% of your account every month? It's nuts. Okay, MAE and MFE for a profitable trader, what should be the number? Well, so those numbers can be anything and on like a strategy be overall profitable. But what they really tell you is like, how much heat are you taking on your strategies? How much are you leaving on the table, right? So if my MAE is higher than my MFE, then that basically means that my entry conditions aren't very good. It's going against me more. There'd be more available for me trading the opposite if my MAE is higher than my MFE, right? Because so remember, so if I get into a position here, and then it goes like this, okay, and then here's my target, okay? This right here is MAE. Maximum adverse excursion. The most it went against me. So, if my MAE, my average MAE, is higher than my average MFE, that basically means that most of the time that I get in, it goes like this, and then teeny tiny little bit, and then I take my profit there, right? That's MAE, MFE. MFE, MAE. Hold on. Let me do it all pretty. MAE, MFE. Okay. Right. So if your MAE is higher than your MFE, then there's something wrong with your signal, right? Your target is closer than your stop, and it's not hitting your stop, but you would make more if you were to take the opposite signal, right? Generally speaking, I want the opposite. I want my MFE to be larger than my MAE. So if I can get like a 40 to 45% win rate, 45% win rate, and MFE to MAE is like 1.5. So I get 1.5 times what my MAE is. That's really good. That's winning. When I'm doing well, that's the stats that I get. You can pass in 10 minutes if you're ready to play dirty and YOLO a bunch of, yeah, right. Oh, I forgot to mention, did he ask if I was long currently? Yes. I have taken profits, so my average position ended up being at 11, but my maximum adverse excursion is at 0.9 or 0.9. So this is a good time to talk about this indicator, because it kind of sounds like you're looking at that a little bit more. Okay. So what this is saying is, if somebody is market making on the long side, their average position is going to be here. And then they're going to stop out like way out here. Basically, like if you're long, or actually it's down here. If you're long, well, so let's do the opposite. If you're market making and you're short, you can still make some money even though it's going up, right? Because, you get it here and then it ticks down and you take the profit immediately. It comes here, it ticks down, you take the profit immediately, right? But how far could it go until there's just absolutely zero way that you could have made money? Right? That's what that line is. Right? And so what you're seeing on my DOM is the exact same thing, right? That 11 where it's blue, that's my average position. And that 0 is the stop outline, the inventory cost basis, right? And what the inventory cost basis is saying is that there's another version of Seth out there that has been market making short the whole time. And what is his average position and what is his stop outline? Essentially. Now, if I have an average position that's lower than the average position on the inventory cost basis, so my average is at 11, their inventory cost basis is at 10. But I only started market making like around here, so yeah. But anyways, it kind of suggests that there's room for improvement there. Right? Could have gotten a better average position. Other market makers probably did. Okay, now it's doing some weird stuff. So like somebody was saying it's like reloading really fast. I don't know if I was seeing that, but it did just like pop up and then pop back down real quickly there. Kind of weird. Kind of weird. Kind of looks like it's settling at 12 again though. Yeah, no, I don't. Maybe someday I'll get it, but I don't really have the resources to do it right now. Like I'd have to probably buy Sierra charts and use it for a while and all this sort of stuff. Apparently, what is going on here? So the S&P 500 is still selling and it's starting to look a little ugly. And my news squawk is telling me that NVDA is down big time. So is it just that like there was talk about a chip embargo or something like that? Like, well, I mean, they're selling. The indexes are selling. Oil, well, so oil has maybe actually trimmed some of its losses, has it? No. They're still down 2.34. But the Nasdaq is down 1.2%. What do you think about ATAS? It looks like an okay platform. I don't have a lot of experience with it. So kind of the issue that you get when you come into platforms like ATAS is like, why? So why would I use that one over Sierra Chart, NinjaTrader, Jigsaw? Because I didn't see anything in it that was really explicitly better. Even though it looks like a decent platform. Okay. So now the treasuries are popping out the top here. Kim orders his border troops to full war status. North Korean army blows up all roads connecting. Well, I remember hearing earlier this week something about the North Korean army blowing up all the roads that connected to South Korea. I don't know about ordering his troops to full war status. Do you think that it's that? Well, it has been in the last 10 minutes that they've really started to fall. Israel Minister Gallant, we do not want to open new fronts, and the Israeli leadership agrees on the nature of the response to Iran. NVDA shares down 3.7%. Report says U.S. is mulling capping a company's AI chip exports to some countries. That was a headline yesterday, but maybe it's affecting it more significantly today. I would say that we're not getting too broad of a flight to safety sentiment in the treasuries yet, but it's maybe kind of there. Did NinjaScript fix their problems with backtesting RAM? Because I had some problems with the RAM. Okay, I'm going to say yes and no. So there was some problems a long time ago with like memory leaks in the backtester, and those are gone. But there are other problems in the backtester that are kind of like probably more your fault. So the one that will really mess with you is you are doing an optimization run and you're running like 10,000 different optimization runs, right? So for every one of those optimization runs that you run, it's going to save all of the trading stats for that optimization run. And the amount for one run might not be that much, but when you times it by 10,000, it's a lot. And it has to keep, and it's keeping all of those trading stats in memory. So the fix to that is there is a property. Let me show you. So I have here a strategy, advanced base strategy. And one of the things that I have in here is I have a Boolean for whether you save history or not. Okay. So if I save the history, this dot include trade history in backtest. So if you say include trade history in backtest false, then it doesn't save all of those stats for every run. It basically just saves what the performance was for it so that it can sort them, and that's it. So what you do is you run your optimization run. You get, on like let's say net profit or maybe Sharpe ratio, right? And you find the one that's the best. Then you run that one iteration over again and you turn, save history to true for that one thing. And that's kind of how you get around some of the memory limitations. Okay. Another thing that you can do is there's this thing that's like, is instantiated on each optimization iteration. So what this means is that like there is stuff here, maybe particularly at the top or inside of this like state.configure and so forth. Okay. If there are things in there that have to be set up for your strategy to work, then it has to be instantiated on each iteration. You can maybe get around that by saying on bar update, if bar equals 0, then instantiate, then do stuff there. Right? Then you can avoid instantiating on each optimization iteration, and that will save you memory and CPU as well. I don't know if it's worth it in most cases or not, though. Well, I kind of regret taking the second contract off now, but that's okay. That's kind of why we do it the way that we do it. So I was able to reduce my inventory so that if we did have a break of 09, I would be able to maybe add to it down in here. But then I was still exposed to that upside. So when this kind of S&P 500 falling apart came through, I was able to make money. Okay. Well, what's the downside? The downside is if I wasn't able to take that contract off, it didn't get filled, and we moved down, there were points where coming down to 09 would have been a $500 loss for me. And I'm making 156 on this little bit of a rise. Not very good risk reward ratio, right? So yeah, you're going to win most of the time with that, but when you don't win, it's ugly. And you do have to take your profits. Like if I didn't take that one off, like let's say that I left both contracts on and then it comes all the way back out and I end up scratching it at break even, then I'm really screwed, right? This does look like a distribution that I might want to consider taking it off. I was thinking I could get 15, but I'm not going to risk it. Because we're getting close to our, like, stop. Anyways, like when I stop trading. I feel like that today, the whole kind of market making a range thing worked really, really well. I would say I didn't expect them to come all the way back to almost to 09. That was a much bigger excursion than I was expecting. So that's kind of a problem. But it still worked. I don't know. What did I do? So that's actually not the best. Let me see here. 171.88 divided by 7 contracts. Okay, so I was making more than a tick per contract. So it's okay on that front. It's just kind of, yeah, you know. But I also kind of feel like that, you know, if I was, you know, like, could I make that into a YouTube short or something? I kind of think not. I don't know if I'd really want to show people that. Because it's not really something that I think is very practical for retail traders to do most of the time. So, you know, like if I was holding that and some news headline came out that stopped me out of the position, that would probably blow the account right there. These are 5 contracts on some sort of like $500 move or something like that. Like, you're screwed, right? But, you know, I think I played it okay. It was a good example still. Also, I do kind of feel like that maybe taking a good trade today redeems me a little bit for diving too deep into the politics and spreading misinformation this morning. Oh, man. Okay. Well, wait, what's going on over here? Maybe I need to set my alerts up again on these individual things for when there's like a move that's outside of the standards. That Bitcoin was on a tear, and they have completely reversed it. Hard, too. When did that start? 8 o'clock? Well, it happened at similar time to when the S&P 500 started selling. So it could be because of NVDA. I don't know, that one's a little weird. I don't know, let's come over here to X and search a little bit. Filter it just a tad. When I search for Bitcoin on X, I do not get any headlines. I just get people talking about the price movement. Do you use vol on your... No, not really, to be honest. I mean, cumulative delta, but not volume itself. Check out Polymarket. Okay, what about on Polymarket? Will Trump launch a coin before the election? 94% chance yes. And you're just giving a general checkout Polymarket? You know what? My profit taking there at 14.5 seems like we worked pretty good. Oh, yeah. But you know what? Like, okay, so let's come in here and look at this. If we're going to talk about Polymarket in particular, presidential election winner, right? Okay. And here's all. And what do I want to see? Okay, I can select other options. Can I add in here? Like, where's the statistics? Activity. Oh, So it doesn't actually... Oh, okay, so here we go. A volume. Is that like overall total? 500 million? I want to know what it is on a daily basis. Or like, what is the book? Right? Because from what I've seen, the betting markets are not liquid enough to really be a very good indicator of anything. Like, with the way that they are, I suspect that one guy with a few $1 million could come in and be completely responsible for that shift from, you know, the 50% to Donald Trump now hitting 57. So I think that in the future, we might get back to where betting markets might have a little bit more use because they are going to allow, well, one exchange won a court case, and so they'll be able to do betting markets. But I'm not convinced that Polymarket is an accurate barometer. Saw a lot of people on Reddit trying to saying, oh, it's so obvious that Elon Musk is manipulating the betting markets, but there's no evidence of that at all. Like, what would you say? Think it's the odds makers setting the odds? Well, I mean, there's like the whole bit about how do you do market making in, you know, a betting market as opposed to a financial market, and the differences between them and all is very interesting, and I don't know a whole lot about, but still, like, I just don't think that you have enough money in there to really be able to make a good prediction, right? It's like you're saying, well, like the 5 guys that care they care the most about it, this is what they're saying. I guess you could say that, but that's not necessarily likely to be correct or not. On the other hand, it seems pretty obvious to me that Kamala Harris is like just absolutely cratering right now. And I would say cratering at a pretty bad time. Like there's not a lot of time left. To be very difficult for her to really recover. Donald Trump could always screw it up though, right? The odds will cause disenfranchisement with, let's not say disenfranchisement. I think you mean disillusionment. Yeah, I think so. The Democrats are already becoming disillusioned for sure. Like right now. What are the stages? Denial, anger, bargaining, and then acceptance. Is it? I seem to recall that there was 5 stages of grief, not 4. Oh, depression. Yes. Okay. I think that the Democrat part, so if this is like a continuous line, I think that Democrats are about right here. Like they're just starting to get angry about it. So you know that bargaining is coming, right? When bargaining is coming is when like everybody on Reddit talks about how they can decertify the election, or you can use a faithless electors scheme, that Donald Trump is not a legal candidate, etc., etc. That's going to be the bargaining phase for Democrats, right? And then you get into depression and acceptance. And the problem is that if election day comes when they're right here at depression, then that's really going to depress Democrat turnout, yes. And I think that Democrats are more prone to these emotions as to whether or not they come out. Republicans are more like, we vote because it's our duty to vote, even if we know we're going to lose. But Democrats are kind of like, oh, I'm not actually on the winning side. Maybe I shouldn't go out and vote because I don't know what I'm talking about. Kamala Harris is offering $25,000 today, so I think she is in the bargaining stage. Well, for Kamala Harris, they're not going to get into that phase until after the election, right? I think. From the position of a candidate, you do everything that you can that you think at the time is going to help you win. So offering people money, yeah, they're going to do that. This is something about this campaign. Like, honestly, I blame Donald Trump, but it was probably going to happen either way. It just really, really bothers me how brazen the bribing voters kind of thing has become. They're just like, the politicians are so brazen about it now that we're just going to straight up give you cash. They're specifically offering black men money at this stage. I don't think that that's going to convince them, if anything. But See, like, okay, here, the issue for Democrats, again, is that they abandoned their base. They have ignored working class people. They have ignored men. They're starting to ignore the LGBT community to some extent, too, by the way. And they've basically completely abandoned them in favor of transgender Muslims and migrants. Like that's just the situation now, right? So you get a new candidate. Of course, you're going to take out, let's see if they can do it. Are they competent? Are they going to do those things, right? And when it comes out that it's like, they're not going to do anything to help me and she's not competent, then like that's the end of it right there, right? So what can she do to stem that? One, she can show them that she actually is for the working class and, you know, have proposals and so forth that really shows that they're serious about that, right? The problem with that at this stage of the campaign is that any kind of proposals that she might do about that will hurt her amongst independents, and so it doesn't actually move the needle. You got to do those things early on when the independents aren't paying attention, right? And then the problem on the competence side is, okay, so you've got to get out there and show that you're competent, but the more that she gets out there, the less competent she appears. So I'm not sure if there's anything she can do at this point. I kind of suspect that it will just get worse and worse and worse, but let's see. There's probably going to be surprises in the next, half of a month. Can I identify as blocking at the casualty case? It's not actually going to happen, of course. All right, guys. Well, it's time for me to get going. Interesting kind of a result we got here. I'm blaming NVIDIA. At least in the title of today's video, I'm blaming NVIDIA. But guys, I have a video. I'm going to put it here in chat. Please, 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 please. Go watch this video. Watch the whole video. Watch the whole video twice. Watch it in like half speed. Those all help. And leave me a comment what your opinion is on it. I think you guys are going to have opinions, so let's have at it. And share it with other people, because we really want people to see this video. This is when, all the stuff earlier about, like, we don't talk about speculator Seth and all of those sorts of things. Don't worry. People watch this video, they're not going to catch on to the larger edges that we have, right? But this is an issue that we need to talk about, so share it around, right? So I will see you guys tomorrow. In the meantime, stay excellent, team.